Pokey Soda here, and I got a nice little video here for you. It's going to kind of be a little bit of a rant talking about the state of Pokemon and what I kind of see happening right here. So this is actually my 100th video that I'll be uploading. Pretty excited about that. It started this journey back in, February 2nd, February 1st, something like that, with no subs, and I'm up to 79 subs, and I appreciate every one of you. But right now, we're having a lot of stuff going on YouTube, whether it be with Pokey Rev, Pokey, not really like Possum Bud or Rock Sandy, because they kind of like the drama type stuff where they make videos about it. But it's just crazy right now. Pokey Plumber, Nostalgia Nomics. So let's just talk about the market a little bit. So right now, Sword and Shield, it has absolutely skyrocketed. It's crazy. Fusion Strike last week was $500 a booster box. Now it's approaching the $800 mark. It'll probably be at $1,000 here. I would say probably by the time end of May hits. Now, Fusion Strike many times. It used to be $80 all day long. And the reason I kind of passed on it was because I didn't get very many hits out of it. I pulled the alt art in it. I got the Gengar VMAX alt art, both fabulous cards. When I saw the video of the guy that had stacks of the alt arts from Fusion Strike, I was like, well, obviously this guy was just pulling them off the conveyor belt when they're getting printed, because people don't realize that the actual alt art or the special cards, whether they be a V star, alt arts, Rs, SRs, those get printed somewhere else. I think in North Carolina. A lot of the common, uncommon cards, those get printed in a different factory. Okay, because that's how the printer presses are set up. But we see a lot of stuff going on right now, Sword and Shield, how it's just taking off and going to the moon. So the first video we're going to kind of talk about here is with Nostalgia Nomics, talking about Sword and Shield going to the moon. And he's pumped Sword and Shield quite a bit. He's a pretty gun-ho investor on it. And I like Alex's content. I think he does a pretty good job on it. Sometimes he gets a little bit too up in his own, kind of, I wouldn't say business, but he feels like he really thinks that he is sometimes too good for the space, it feels like. I would say he's not overly optimistic, but he kind of has his nose turned up to the regular Pokemon people. And you know what? It works. He's got 29,000 subs about, and I enjoy his content. I listen to Alex's videos every day. But Sword and Shield going to the moon absolutely is. Even Battle Styles right now is over $200 a booster box. And remember, those sold out on Pokemon Center back in January. They were up there forever. Battle Styles isn't that bad of a set. Like, I don't know why people didn't like it. Why didn't I invest a lot of money in Battle Styles? Well, because I don't want to set on a bunch of booster boxes. I know that sounds crazy because I have a pretty big sealed collection, but Battle Styles was a pretty good set, actually. I enjoyed Battle Styles. I like to open it up. And people have to realize Battle Styles is when alt arts finally came in, okay? So when you look at it, you had Vivid Voltage. It was a super high set, way, way overprinted. Even when it was overprinted, though, those were $200 a box MSRP, or not MSRP, coming out of the gate. MSRP on those were tough to find. So Vivid Voltage was what it was. But then when Battle Styles came out, it was like the lull that happened with Pokemon. This was during the COVID times, things like that. So Battle Styles wasn't a big one. Chilling Reigns got destroyed. No one was buying Chilling Reigns because they didn't just like the Calrex. They didn't care for it. Chilling Reigns, alt art wise, stellar alt art, unbelievable ones. And so I thought Chilling Reigns always got a bad rap too, but that's when the alt art started. And so like Battle Styles, it's no surprise that it's not going to go up. That Tyranitar where he's like just, high as a kite or drunk or whatever in the park, it's an awesome card. One card I've never pulled. Okay. It is going to the moon. If you have a bunch of Sword and Shield booster boxes, right now is the time to probably hold on to them. Maybe, I don't know, offload them, because yes, Fusion Strike could get to 1,000. Its low right now is right around that 450 mark. Okay. But if it gets to 1,000 and sinks down to 700, its new low is better than its previous high. So you have to look at it that way. So is it worth investing some money into that? Maybe. But Evolving Skies, only a matter of time before it starts to take off. So if you're trying to get some, sets out there, if I was investing anything Sword and Shield, I would invest in Brilliant Stars. By far my favorite set, tons of Charizard chases in there. Now, the other one is Pokey Plumber. He kind of throws a little shade here in Nostalgia Nomics where he's like, hey, if someone who I talked to every day on the phone for the last 2 years, because they broke up, I don't know who got the kids or the dog or what, but these two broke up. Okay. And I get it. Alex was upset because, right here with Pokey Plumber, he's hanging out with like Cruel Trainer Ryan and stuff like that. I'm not a Cool Trainer Ryan fan. It's not that I just don't like the guy or anything like that. The videos I just don't like as much because I'm not as big of like a rip and ship type video type person. But Pokey Plumber's talking about if you guys would have listened to me, you guys would have been able to make all these investments as well. And he's right. Like, he is right. He's had a pretty good stay in it. You can see his wall in the background right there. Like, the guy has a ton of booster boxes that are sealed, and he has good stake in the whole Pokemon game. Booster boxes, of course, they're always going to move a lot faster than anything else. But if you have to invest in something, booster boxes are the way to go. Right now, Paradox Rift, and he says in this video, Paradox Rift is the one to go to next. It's about $180 a booster box right now. You can buy Paradox Rift on Safari Zone for $180. You can get a whole case of it for like $1,150 or something. So that's what, Pokey Plumber has going on here. Again, all these people I watch every day. Now, Alpha Investments. If you have never listened to Alpha Investments, this guy has some stories. This guy is unbelievable. He knows investing so well, and the amount of money that he has in stake in Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, it's insane. So like this guy right here, he's kind of goofy. I've always thought he looked like a Bam Margera who didn't quite let himself go as much, because people tell me I look like, Seth Rogen all the time and I sound like him. I got the laugh. But this guy right here, he looks like almost like a Wolverine type deal, though. Alpha Investments, listen to him all the time. Unbelievable stuff. He is halting the sale on his Sword and Shield. Why? Because he's getting his ass kicked on it. He's been selling cases of Sword and Shield, and he's losing money every time he does it because the market right now is correcting or it's going to a new high. He talks about it right here. If you have not watched the Halting All Pokemon Sales by Alpha Investments, unbelievable video. Well worth the watch. And he's basically like, I'll sell the new Pokemon. He goes, I'm not selling the old stuff because right now everything's moving so fast, I can't keep up with the prices. This is where you can actually go on TCG Player, eBay, and find some of these booster boxes that people are not paying attention to it. They've had them listed for a while. You can pick them up on the cheap, okay? Now, on the cheap means what the value was maybe 2 days ago. Unbelievable stuff here. I can't even think of the guy's first name. I wanted to say Mason, but it's not Mason because that's Cardinal Gaming. But Alpha Investments, unbelievable one. Now, we got another one here with PokéNE. Brian, just, a couple hours down the road from me. With PokéNE, he talks about how much he's invested into Black Bolt and White Flare. So when people go in and they put their, allocations, what they want to have, he puts $750,000 towards these. That doesn't mean he does it. So like I have a friend here in town that has a distributor, and I always say, hey, what do I owe you? And he goes, don't pay me until I get the product in, because he may not always get the product. But when he says that, it's because they invoice him afterwards. Now, just like Brian talks about on this video, if Pokemon calls the bluff and says, you know what, here's your $750,000 worth, now what? Either he has to pay that invoice or say, hey, I can't do it. And then he gets blacklisted. They're not going to send him stuff anymore from distro because they're going to say, hey, this guy faulted on his order we put in. And so it's not like I said, I don't think Black Bolt and White Flare is going to be the set, because this is SV 10.5, I believe. Okay. Now, SV 11, the word is that is going to be printed on demand, or some small time seller might say, and the distributor says, okay, here's your 100 cases. And they're like, holy shit, like I got to get rid of this stuff. So they're going to have to fire sell it. So if they get it for $90 a booster box, they're going to sell for like 95 or 100 just to get that stuff out there to pay that invoice, because they cannot risk distro blacklisting them. So definitely something to think about here. The market itself is just kind of crazy right now. The Sword and Shield's going nuts. Scarlet and Violet's only going to follow next. Now, there's a few other things out there. We got Pokey Rev. He's taking a lot of shit right now because he's saying how Pokemon's cooked and things like that, and people are, coming down on him. Thing about Pokey Rev is he's changed his dynamic. He's been on the space for a decade, like forever. And Pokey Rev, I loved watching his videos during COVID. It was always fun. They would do like, Nostalgia Thursday or something where they'd open up an old booster box. I love PokéRev stuff, but PokéRev, he has gone out of touch a little bit with some of the stuff on here, but it just happens. The dude's got like 3 million viewers or subscribers. He gets tons of views per channel. So like, for instance, a lot of his videos, they'll get like 20 to 40,000 views. When we look at this one, 2 days ago, 108,000 views. Okay. That's the crazy thing, is like, for him saying this, he's gotten double the views, if not triple the views. And this is only 2 days into it. So usually a month into his videos, you'll have that 20 to 40,000 views 2 days into it. Some people just do this. And they do it so they can get the hype up and get everything going so they get some money off of it. He's getting paid for all those views on there. Now, the one thing people don't really talk about too much, and Nostalgia Nomics kind of goes back with this. So Alex talks about this a little bit. He touches base on it. And so does Alpha Investments. Less than half of America, adults, invest in stock market. Okay. A lot of them don't do it because they say, hey, I don't have the money. I can't put a stake in the stock. It's not worth it for me. Why would I put $10 or $15 into something when I might get a marginal investment or return at best? I get it. That's why a lot of people invest in collectibles. Okay. So Pokemon cards, Pokey Beard, when he was not having that much money, he would go out and buy sleeve packs whenever he had stuff just so he could start his collection started going. Okay. Pokey Beard just talked about it. He got his big go was when he had a first edition Lugia. He sold during COVID. And during COVID, some of those cards are going for $100,000. So if you don't have the money to invest, collectibles sometimes happens. Now, what happens here with Sword and Shield is you have some whales that are in the market. Now, what whales mean is it used to be a term with poker and gambling. So the people that had the high bankroll, they'd come in and just flash a ton of money. Those were the whales. Okay. Now, what people have to realize that in Pokemon cards, right now with all the tariff talk, and I'm not going to get political on this shit because I have my beliefs in tariffs. Other people have different beliefs. Here's the thing, is that the stock market is a little bit of influx and people are looking to say, hey, where can I put some money? You get a couple millionaires throwing some money at Pokemon, it can fluctuate the market quite a bit because 99.9% of Pokemon investors are people that are blue collar workers or lower. They're just average, normal people just in the USA, around the world that are collecting a card for a hobby. If you drop a few millionaires in there, some big whales like they call them, into the hobby, just imagine what can happen. It can make things so far out of reach, it'll be impossible for some people to collect them. Okay. Now imagine, let's take Paradox Rift, for instance. It's one of the lowest Scarlet and Violet boxes, $180 a booster box. Well, let's say some guy with a huge portfolio into the hundreds of millions of dollars says, you know what? I'm going to buy Paradox Rift. And he buys as much as he can. Okay. Now, by buying as much as he can, let's say he buys, all right, 1 million booster boxes of Paradox Rift. I know this sounds crazy. Just bear with me. If he buys 1 million boxes of them at $180 a piece or $180 a piece or whatever, he's going to be at $180 million. That's a big chunk. So are the whales going to do something like that? Probably not. But let's say he buys 10,000 booster boxes of them. Okay. Now, 10,000 booster boxes of them, that's not going to be 18 million. That'd be 1.8 million. If this guy has hundreds of millions or tens of millions of dollars and he has 1.8 million he needs to put somewhere, whether it be in real estate, the stock market, or collectibles, if someone does that, it's going to really drive the market. Okay. So Pokemon typically hasn't had this. You've seen some of the investors. Logan Paul hyped it up a ton and it's crazy what happened. But the thing is he's got a ton of money. So he can have that FU money where he can say, hey, I'm going to spend $30,000 or $350,000 on a first edition base set booster box and open it up just because I'm bored. He can do that. If he films it, his content will make more than $350,000 just by doing that. Plus, he gets to write it off because it's part of his business model. There's so many things out there in the Pokemon community that can set this ship and tilt it one way. I just don't think people are really understanding it. As for product wise, I had a buddy of mine that was over in Hastings today, just a town right by us, and sent me some pictures of the restock. He was the only one that hit it. Shelves were stocked full of stuff. The product's out there. You can still get it. Sometimes you just have to get it within a day or two after the restock or find it online. I know Prismatic booster bundles, they dropped today on the Pokemon Center. I was unable to get some, but everybody I knew got some. So I got the Air 17, which is like the Pokeblock, cock block of the internet for the Pokemon Center. But the product's out there. All right. And now just think, Surging Sparks with a non-TCG, he talks about this. Okay. A non-TCG said that Surging Sparks reprint, not restock. Reprint should be coming this way in the next few weeks. You're going to see booster bundles or ETBs or something rolling out. I hope it's booster boxes, but we'll see. Will that make a dent in the market? Depends on how much of the stuff gets dropped. So Just some stuff to think about, guys. If you do have Sword and Shield, I'm not saying to get rid of it. I'm not saying to hold it either. I'm not an investor, but I don't know. I think it is going to reach a new high and it will get to a new low, but that new low will probably be higher than the previous high. So that's all I got for you guys. Just a little bit of a rant, something I've been thinking about. I've been on a mower most of the day, so I sat there and think about that. But hey, we're Pokemon Soda. We got 79 subs. Let us get to 100. When we get to 100, we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do it for all the people that are subbed and or subscribed to our channel. So I appreciate you guys. Remember, catch them all.